What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. Today I'm working on this 2020 Chevy Silverado with a 6-speed automatic transmission. It has a 5.3 liter engine, and these vehicles, from what I can tell, have been developing an issue with the shifter lever getting stuck either in drive or in neutral, and you won't be able to put it back into park. So then when that happens, you can't take your key out. Your vehicle will die because the car lights won't turn off because the key is still in the ignition. So I know that it looks like I already have things taken apart already, and that's because I was doing things off camera. I wasn't too sure I was going to record this, but I couldn't find a lot of information about, what is going on with this vehicle. So I kind of want to show you guys what is happening on this car. So this guy right here, like I said, it was stuck in drive and it wouldn't come out. When you take this cover off, which is right here, you will notice there is a plastic piece that is missing from here. And what happens is when that breaks, there's too much play in there and there's not a lot of contact area with this guy right here. This is the replacement part. So there's supposed to be a plastic socket like how you see right here, and that rides on this groove on this paw. And what happens, like I said, is it breaks and then it no longer makes contact, so you can no longer shift gears. That's a very quick summary of what is going on. It is kind of disappointing because you have to buy this whole entire assembly right here, which is right here, the part number for that. You have to buy that whole assembly because GM doesn't sell just this piece separately, which is technically all you need. You just need this with this guy pressed on. This is a 10mm bolt, and once you remove that, this guy comes off, but they don't sell things like that. So you have to replace the whole thing. And in order to replace the whole thing, you got to take all of this apart. So this cover right here is covering the bottom of the steering column, and it's held down by a 7mm fastener that's right here. From on the bottom, you'll see it like that. And then there is two more that are hidden behind the steering wheel. One on this side and one over here. They're both 7mm. I had to use a very small wrench to get in there. Another thing is, it is covered with these plastic covers on the side. So you pop them off to expose a bolt. It's going to be a tight fit, but if you jiggle the steering wheel back and forth, you should be able to get to the fastener, which will be right here, and you'll be able to break it loose to get it out. You'll do that on both sides. If you run into this issue, you should be able to put your finger through here or a flathead to kind of push down on the paw to get back into park. So once you get this guy off, put that off to the side. Go ahead and remove this fastener right here, which is a T30. Go ahead and get that guy off and set that off to the side. Once you have that loose, go ahead and just let it dangle like that. This right underneath is the lockout solenoid, I believe, and this also has its own connection, which you want to go ahead and pull back and depress to remove. You're going to move back up here. So now I'm going to try to get these bolts removed. There's actually going to be three from what I can tell. There's going to be this top one right here, this one in the back, and the one on the side. This front one, I believe, can stay in there. I don't think that one comes out, but the one in the back does need to come off. So we'll get those guys broken loose and removed. And once we get those guys out, I think this guy will be free. We are going to have to transfer the handle over though, and I'll show you guys how to do that in a second. You got to disconnect that wiring harness from here. Go ahead and press on that side piece right here to disconnect it. Actually, it just came out of there, but it might be a little bit easier if you do that. But once you do that, pull back and then push down on that little tab to free the clip. So once you depress this tab, you can pull this out. I forgot to mention it, but there's also one more bolt holding on the lever to the whole mechanism here. So go ahead and loosen that bolt now so that you don't have a harder time removing it when this is all off. So this is also a T30. And once you break it loose, this outer lever should come free since we disconnected the wiring harness from there. So if you pull it out just like that, it should come out. It looks like it's attached back here as well, so we'll need to remove it from here. Probably get a flathead to pop that out. So I have the shifter lever right here off. That's the little clip that we talked about that we needed to remove. Just right here all it did was just get a flathead and push out. So let's continue removing this guy. So right here in the bottom we have the old part, and this is the new one that we're going to be installing. Aside from maybe just this upper, or I guess you should say lower ear, that seems to be the only difference that I can see from these two parts. So I'm kind of disappointed that they didn't update maybe the material on this guy right here, which seems to be the failure point on these vehicles. I mean, you can kind of see where those two halves of plastic come together. It's just not heavy duty enough. I think we need something stronger. I'm pretty sure maybe an aftermarket company will come up with a cheaper solution than just replacing this whole assembly. Like I said, it's just a 10mm bolt holding this down, and you don't have to take all this off to replace it. It's pretty straightforward to put this back together. We're just putting the fasteners back where they go. These have some thread locker on there, and I think that's still going to be fine. So I don't think you need to replace it or replace the bolts. So we'll get these guys installed back in here and put the lever back in as well. And don't forget to put that fastener back in as well. One thing you guys should note about these fasteners is they weren't on there too tight, so don't overdo it when you guys are tightening them back up. The last thing you want to do is to, you know, strip out the threads on these aluminum parts, and you're gonna have a bigger issue than, you know, what you started with. So let's go ahead and continue doing this and put everything back together how it should go. I think this one is not in the right position, so we're gonna have to adjust it right now when we put the lever back in. So for the most part, I put everything back together. I did test out the lever. It is nice and firm and it works as it should. What I'll do here is just put everything back together. Don't forget to put the fasteners back in through here, and then on this side as well through that access cover, and then go ahead and just button everything back up. So I'm hoping that this replacement part does last longer than 4 years. I feel like 4 years for this to break is not really a long time. You kind of see these types of failures on vehicles with, you know, 20 years being out in the sun and whatnot. Not something that's less than, you know, 4 years old with only 32,000 miles. And I hope somebody can come up with a alternative, you know, to just replacing that whole assembly. It's really not needed. So if you guys have a similar issue that I was having where I couldn't get out of drive or neutral, couldn't go to park, hopefully this video helps as a guide and show you guys what you need to do to fix it. With that being said, I'll see you guys all in the next video. Peace out.